The JuRY Daily program is paid for by the folks that give us money at payjurydaily.com. Hi, friends. It's your old pal, Justin Robert Young, joining you yet again live from Oakland, California. Good to see you. Good to see you. Happy to be here. Back from Ohio. Spent 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days in the Buckeye State. Went to a really nice wedding. Two old friends. I mean, I had two friends that have been dating as long as I knew them when I met them. I mean, in college, and now finally married. Great ceremony, laid back ceremony, dude. If you're getting married, a little free advice from the Gerbs. Laid back ceremony, way to go. Laid back reception. It's the way to go. Nobody needs to get marched in and out. If you're doing a religious thing, you're doing a religious thing. All right, I get it. That's fine. That's a personal thing. You want to do that, you want to do that. You want to do a wedding the way that your family's always done it. You want to be a part of it. I'm just saying, if you don't have those ties and it's up to you, then laid back. There were no sand combining ceremonies at this wedding. And they also did this, which I thought was great. I would have stolen this. In fact, I told them the reason why I am pissed off that it took them this long to get married, because I would prefer if they had gotten married before I did, because I would have ripped off a bunch of stuff. They did their guest book with ticket stubs of movies that they'd gone to see, movies and concerts that they'd gone to see. So everybody signed their little guest book note on the back of like fun ticket stubs and concerts and everything. Oh, smart idea. Great idea. I thought it was fantastic. All right. So big shout out to Matt and Beth, who was very excited to be there. Also Ohio, still Ohio. I will say this: Cleveland is cool. I like Cleveland. I've always had a soft spot for Cleveland back when I used to go there a lot for my old job. But there's like just some legit ass hip shit that's happening in Cleveland. Shout out to the Tabletop Board Game Cafe. They had a contender in there. Looked like it was pretty worn, like people have been playing it. So shout out to them. I got to play my own game with my college friends in a cool tabletop bar. I don't want to talk about that. Because whenever I talk, I don't know, whenever I talk about stuff that's outside of the Bay Area, people always like to be like, oh, yeah, but the Bay Area is gross. San Francisco's gross. It's disgusting. There's needles and human shit everywhere. And I'm here to tell you, you're right. Saw this morning. Life on the Dirtiest Block of San Francisco. We read now a Thomas Fuller story as written for the New York Times. The heroin needles, the pile of excrement between parked cars, and the yellow soup oozing out of a large plastic bag by the curb, and the stained faux Persian carpet dumped on the corner. It is a scene of detritus that might bring to mind any variety of developing world squalor, but this is San Francisco, the capital of the nation's technology industry, where a single span of Hyde Street hosts an open-air narcotics market by day and by night is occupied by the unsheltered and drug-addled slumped on the sidewalk. There are many other streets like it, but by one measure, it is the dirtiest block in the city. Now, I am here to say that I agree with this article because much of Contender and almost all of Action News, my card games, were written at my co-creator John Teasdale's house on the 300 block of Hyde Street. Yeah, baby! Yeah, we're part of the story. Ground zero. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that this is a terrifying block to be on later at night. Oh my God. Just in general, the Tenderloin is a real mixed bag. And by mixed bag, I mean it would be better if there were some bags passed around so people could shit in them instead of right on the street. Or to just kind of dispose of their heroin needles. But it is a real, man, I don't know. Part of me wanted to just keep making jokes about it, but it is really sad. I did not dox John. He doesn't live there anymore. He moved out, probably because it was the dirtiest block of San Francisco, and it was abjectly terrifying. His building had 2 iron gates that you had to get through. There was like one you had to get buzzed in that then got you to another one that you had to get buzzed in. I'm just saying that among the open air drug market, there's also apparently, you know, a tree grows in Brooklyn. There were also hipster card games being created on the exact same block. I did want to point out one more thing about this story. It has a quote from London Breed, the new mayor of San Francisco. Breed has announced plans to provide an additional 1,000 beds for homeless people over the next 2 years. She is also targeting a relatively small group of people living on the streets who she says is beyond the point of assisting themselves. The concept of this involuntary removal is known as conservatorship. A law recently passed in Sacramento strengthens the city's powers of conservatorship with the judge's permission. There are about 100 to 150 people who are clearly mentally ill who are cycling through the system who need to be forced into conservatorship, Breed said in an interview. We know all of them. According to Breed's office, 12% of the people who use the services of the San Francisco Department of Public Health account for 73% of the cost. The majority of these heavy users have medical, psychiatric, and substance abuse issues, according to the department. Breed has made unannounced inspections of neighborhoods, sometimes carrying a broom. On a Saturday morning in September, she walked past a woman on Hyde Street, slouched on the pavement, preparing to plunge a syringe into her hand. Put that away, said the police officer accompanying the mayor. Oh, boy. Oh, also, by the way, another story that hit this week, the median price of a house in San Francisco crossed the $1 million mark. And in case you were wondering whether or not this is a little bit of trans bay hate, a little trans bay salt, because I am from Oakland, this is San Francisco, there is a little bit of a rivalry between the two. I will say there was another story that came up over the weekend as we were traveling through Ohio and looking at Zillow listings and crying as to what we would be able to afford tomorrow if we lived in anywhere but the Bay Area. That the cheapest house in San Francisco, Oakland rather, the cheapest house in Oakland is $220,000 in a neighborhood you probably wouldn't want to live in, and is, by the way, burnt out by way of a fire. It is a husk of a house, literally still charred from the remains of a fire that took it out. That's the cheapest house on the market in Oakland right now. That's it. So $220, you can live in a burnt out house. And by the way, it'll probably go for double in cash. Oh, I wanted to make fun of one more thing here in this story, the New York Times. One of their subheadlines, is a Sisyphusian cleanup. I need you all to let me know either on YouTube or via JuRYDaily@gmail.com. Don't look it up, and I'm not going to spell it for you. If you're watching it, then you're watching it. But if I just say a Sisyphusian cleanup, do you know what the fuck I'm talking about? Are you aware of what I got it, but I just don't know if you are writing to a audience that needs to understand it. I just don't know if many people are going to look at that and go, a reference to Sisyphus. A scholarly point scored by you, fair scribe. Please, go on. Although I don't know, maybe Sisyphus is out here in these streets. Maybe everybody knows about Sisyphus. God, I read something else over the weekend. Oh, my buddy Gabe sent me a pitchfork. Actually, no, you want to know what? I'm going to save this. In fact, here, I'm just going to put the call out for everybody. I need all my music fans, all right? I need you to send me the most overwritten rap reviews on Pitchfork. Music fans will know what I'm talking about. But my buddy Gabe sent me a Pitchfork review of the new SOBXRBE album. And it described, oh, God, I can't remember the names of everybody in that group. But was, one of them as cool as the river Styx, while the other as feral as Cerberus. Which just delighted me. Pitchfork, forever making musicians Google some shit while you're trying to figure out whether or not that line was an insult or a compliment. So we're going to save it. Send me, if anybody knows what the hell I'm talking about, Pitchfork always overwrites their rap reviews. It's the weirdest manifestation of racial guilt, aside from George Lucas ruining the prequels. Big shout out to the Ice Cream Social guys for being awesome in our unpopular opinion episodes last week. But let's go ahead and get into your emails. JuRYDaily@gmail.com. Again, JuRYDaily@gmail.com. Mike writes, random question for you. Are video podcast feeds dying? You don't offer one for this podcast or PX3. Schwood and company have apparently given up on them as Scam School has their video podcast has been dead for almost a year, and there was never a video podcast feed for the Modern Rogue. As another example, the Hack 5 feed has gone away as well. What gives? Do you think that YouTube is eventually going to kill the video podcast concept? Is it a bandwidth expense thing, pushing people to YouTube for the ad revenue? Just curious. All right. Without getting too far into stories that are not mine to tell, I'm pretty sure the Scam School and Hack 5 situations are because of machinations at Revision 3, knee Discovery, knee Seeker, knee whatever the fuck they're called now. But in general, you nailed it when it's just it's another RSS feed that needs to be maintained. It's another place where you have to host video files and video files that are only getting bigger. So if you are continuing to offer the best quality video, then you are only going to be paying for more bandwidth for people to download it. When the other side of it is, well, how many people are really using it? And this shit is free on YouTube. Would it be cooler if you were able to spin out a video podcast RSS feed from YouTube, yes, I would offer one if that were the case. But otherwise, I don't really know if there's a market for it. I know certainly back in the day there was, but for me, I just don't quite understand. Hobbs Dog writes, just as a side note, I have never not heard the 8-minute version of Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. In fact, until your podcast, I never realized there was another version. And we got some more. This is the last of the mouth guitar, Battle of the Mouth Guitars. Mark writes, look, let's all be honest with ourselves here. Your mouth guitar rendition of Money for Nothing was, well, at least you approached the correct rhythm, even if the performance was a bit atonal. But Justin came in and threw down the gauntlet like he's some kind of hot shit. And when it came time to deliver, he foxtrotted all over his own dick with some randomized and toneless guitar center mouth shredding. So yeah, you won this battle of the mouth bands. I am so thrilled that mouth guitar took off in such an amazing way. If we ever do a live show, we might have to begin with a battle of the mouth guitars, where we take famous songs and you, the listeners, the JuRY fans, work on your best mouth guitar, so we can have some kind of competition. We might have to do a live show just so we could have mouth guitar. A mouth guitar competition. MRRX213 wrote, the other day you had a listener call out BBC Radio 1 for playing the uncensored version of Fairy Tale of New York every Christmas. BBC Radio 1 did censor the song in 2007, and there was a massive public outcry against censoring it. So much so that all the non-BBC radio stations increased the amount that they played the uncensored version in protest. The BBC changed their decision in the following years, but the increased playing continues every Christmas, so much so that the song I used to like has gotten irritating. I didn't know there was such a battle over that song in England. I didn't even know that song was popular in England. You learn something new every day. And you can share what you learn right here. JuRYDaily@gmail.com. Folks, that about wraps it up for us today. Thank you for joining us. Until tomorrow. I want to thank all of our producers. The Jen, PD Rave, Non-Specific, Rock and Roll Martian, Joe Acosta, Will, John H. Meyer, James, Bill, and Dustin. If you want to come see me live, only 2 blocks away from the Dirtiest Block in San Francisco, you can get your tickets. It is election night. I'm going to be doing a live PX3 podcast where we go over all the winners. We have a live decision desk. We review the best campaign ads of the year. Head on over there to get your tickets at Piano Fight. That is November 6th, 7 p.m., bit.ly/WaveWatch. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat is Justin R. Young. Join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Until next time, this is your old pal saying, please don't. Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.